Welcome to Zimmerman Podcast, episode 70. Today, I'm talking about the one mindset shift you need to succeed in life and in business. So many times it seems like my students want a practical list of things they can do to grow their businesses. You know, things like, should I start an email list? What time should I post on Instagram and how many times a week? What platform should I be investing most of my time in? You know what I'm talking about. But the biggest key to business success and failure isn't an app or a platform or even a specific strategy. It's a mindset. Today, I'm sharing how a growth mindset can transform your life and your business and make truly anything possible for you. All right, you ready? Let's do it.
Welcome to the Zimmerman Podcast with your host, CEO, wedding professional, educator, and mom, Jessica Zimmerman. In just 2 years, Jessica went from facing bankruptcy to taking home a six-figure salary. She turned a business-saving $100,000 loan into a $1 million empire. As a creative entrepreneur, a healthy work-life balance seems just as unattainable as a six-figure income. But Jessica Zimmerman is here to show you it's possible. With the right tools and insider tips and some hard work, your craziest dreams can become your daily routine. If you set some boundaries and commit to healthy changes, you can create a business and a life you love. So let's make your business work for you.
Okay, here's the deal. Whether you realize it or not, you operate either from a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. The way I think about a fixed mindset is like this. You see yourself as having certain skills and lacking certain skills. And there's not really a lot of wiggle room there. You're either good at something or you're not. Because of that, you believe that there's a limited path in life that you can take. This might seem extreme, but think about middle school math class. When you stopped learning arithmetic and started learning algebra, there was probably a point in time when everyone in your class was either a math person or not a math person. Depending on which one you were, your performance in math over the years probably reflected how you thought of yourself. The math people, they kept doing well in math. And the not math people continued to see themselves as incapable of being good at math just because they started defining themselves that way. It's sneaky how we start defining ourselves. You probably have some sneaky fixed mindset habits without even realizing it. Then there's a growth mindset. I have a growth mindset, but I genuinely believe that I can do whatever I want to do. I'm not naive, but when it comes down to it, I am always willing to bet on myself. For example, a few years ago, I ran a half marathon with 2 days of training. I don't recommend that. I don't think it's smart. It wasn't the smartest thing I've ever done, but I believed that my body could finish that race. And so it did. I believe that if I wanted to, I could become bilingual. I don't have an affinity for languages. In fact, it took me 7 years to graduate college because I had 2 unfinished Spanish credits. But I believe that I have the resources and the abilities to become bilingual if I wanted to. When it comes to things I want to achieve, the only thing standing in the way, I truly believe, is me. The good news is that you can learn to have a growth mindset. In fact, just believing that you can learn to have a growth mindset is having a growth mindset. You might not be able to transform your mindset overnight, but the more you practice, the more optimistic you are, the more you believe in yourself, the more you tell yourself, I'm capable of anything, the more you drown out the excuses, because the excuses are what is getting in your way. I can't do this because I didn't go to college. My husband isn't supportive of my side hustle, so I can't do it. My family just wouldn't understand. Those are really just excuses, and you only have one life, truly. How much more of it are you willing to waste making up excuses for why you can't live the life you really want to live? And here's the other thing. Complaining, it's just another form of making excuses. There's a difference between being honest about disappointments and being a victim of your own life. Running a floral business isn't always as pretty as the flowers themselves. I spent more than $100,000 educating myself and figuring out how to make this business work for me and fully support my family of five. If you're wanting to know how to not only run a profitable business, but also hear all my firsthand experiences of navigating how to deal with difficult brides, make automated systems, create proposals, set boundaries in your work, and book every bride you want, you need to check out Business Behind the Blooms. Go to zimmermanpodcast.com/BBB to get more information. That's zimmermanpodcast.com/BBB. If you find yourself complaining about why things don't look the way you want them to look, then you need to take ownership if you want anything to change. The truth is, if you are willing to take responsibility for everything in your life, default to everything being your responsibility, then anything becomes possible and you really can live the life you want. It's also not so scary to take responsibility for things that aren't going well because if you have a growth mindset, you know you can always change and grow. Taking responsibility for something bad that happened doesn't mean that you are bad because you're capable of amazing growth and change. There's always going to be a reason you can give yourself for why you can't do what you want to do. When I really grew my business, it was when I had 3 kids under the age of 2, a sick husband who lost his job, and there were lots of reasons I could have given myself for why I couldn't be successful under those circumstances. When I wrote The Business Behind the Blooms, there was no reason it should have been successful. I had like 300 followers on Instagram and an email list of 0. That could have stopped me from writing it at all. But I'm so glad it didn't. I'm so glad I believed that I could do it. You might not be able to transform your mindset overnight, but once you start choosing a growth mindset, you'll start seeing confirmation of your ability every day. So maybe you need to cut out negative people from your life. Maybe you need to start before you have a perfect plan. Just start. Stop seeing a no as a no and see it as, let me try this again. Connect with that person you admire and ask them questions. Stop taking it personally if you reach out and someone doesn't respond to you. That's about them. It's not about you. Quit taking everything so personally. If you want to build a great business or live a good life, you've got to plan for it. Every year, I take a whole month to reevaluate the past 12 months and figure out what worked, what didn't, and how I can create a life I love for the following year. I teach you my exact planning process in my program, Know Your Numbers, Annual Planning for Your Best Year. If you want a free training to get some tips on planning your best year yet, go to zimmermanpodcast.com/knowyournumbers. That's zimmermanpodcast.com/knowyournumbers. When you start taking risks and expecting good things to come to you, things might not work out. You might hear no. You might hear no a lot, but you sure as hell won't hear it more than when you don't even try because you don't believe the things you want are available to you. If you sit and dwell, you stay stuck. When you keep moving and growing and learning, nothing will be impossible for you. Your biggest limiting factor isn't the number of people on your email list, your Instagram followers, or anything like that. It's about what you believe is possible for you and what you believe is available to you. Think about what your life looked like this time last year. If you have a fixed mindset, then I bet things are the same or worse than they were this time last year. And I know this is some tough love, but that's how it's going to stay unless you start believing that you're capable of change. So before you figure out what you need to do to get where you want to be, start believing that you're capable of achieving the things you really want. The best way to learn is to start doing. So if you're looking for permission, this is it. Start taking responsibility for your one and only life. Start before you're ready. Believe you're capable of change. I'd love to hear how you're working on choosing a growth mindset. Send me a direct message. Let me know how your mindset shifts are going for you. And if you've liked what you've heard today, please share it, subscribe, and review. I'll see you next time here on the Zimmerman Podcast.
If you loved what you heard today, even if you liked it a lot, you should subscribe and leave a review. We'll see you back here next time in the Zimmerman Podcast.